No,
So
okay.
I need to do
Perfect.
things.
Those would make
Except for this
stand up.
Are they really?
Like, didn't see them.
Yeah, you retro ones, or they're actually like,
You're okay.
oh, are they really?
That thing came out of the.
Do you want to plug it in now?
It's-
Pull it up.
I just saw my laptop.
Yeah, it was there.
Yeah, the stone and Rolano.
Yeah.
There's some core work you gotta do there.
I'm here for whatever that is.
Okay.
I was like, Amy's like,
How do I get back so I can just record the sound?
Oh, yeah, like just like get it up and then underline or something.
Okay.
Now we have those great new red things.
Awesome, thanks, Betsy.
Yeah.
I was like, no, thank you.
We got a quorum. Barely.
Have that since.
We got 4. Yeah, got 1 minute by Michael. She's on her way.
Yeah.
Jason's
It's like being in a house.
Yeah, there's Elizabeth's walking in.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Pardon?
Okay.
Elizabeth.
I mean, I can barely turn myself into most days, so
No, I think she was just walking by.
I really need to like go take a class at the Apple Store.
Just in the nick of time.
I'm gonna have to ask you to start paying me up again.
Just from a timely standpoint.
Yes, oh my god.
I'll just text you and tell you when I'm out front.
That blows up. You don't open that thing near me.
Okay, 7 o'clock. We will get started. I'll call this meeting to order. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First up, we have the approval of the memorandum of the June 18th, 2018 regular meeting. A copy has been posted. Take a motion to approve.
Motion.
Got a first from Councilor Schuler,
Second.
second from Councilor Hopper. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? The memorandum of the June 18th, 2018 regular Town Council meeting is approved by a vote of 5 in favor, 0 opposed. Next up, we have departmental June monthly reports. Reports are submitted by the town management staff for council review and posted on the town website. I know we just got these this afternoon. Any questions for staff from the reports?
Not yet.
Mr. Lance, I had one quick question for you, if you don't mind wandering up here. Last council meeting, or a couple council meetings ago, we had talked about roads and state of the roads, and I noticed in your report you had listed the 2018 paving projects. I was just wondering maybe if you could explain to this council and to everyone how those are picked or what methodology you use to pick those paving projects.
I'll do my best to try and keep it somewhat scientific, but there is some subjectivity to it. Primarily what we look at is the condition of the roads and how rapidly they're declining. As you may be aware, all of our roads are rated on a scale of 1 to 10. We primarily start taking a look at things when they slide to a 4 and below. So if a road is a 3, which means it's at the beginning of some structural deficiencies, we want to capture those roads at a 3 before they become more expensive to repair because more reconstruction is involved as opposed to just an overlay. So we look at these roads, what's more rapidly declining from a 4 to a 3 to a 2. So we look at these roads that are rapidly declining, and then we try and look at the region that road is in, because it's not the best economy of scale to send contractors to 100 different places around town when they're loading up their equipment going far away. So we try and look at needs in a regional area. And you'll notice this year, if you know those roads, they're primarily Colony Woods roads. There's a lot of 2s and 1s in that road that you want to repair before they get even more expensive to do so. Additionally, some of the roads that may need repaired are a cul-de-sac that might be 200 feet long or 200 yards long, very short road. Again, not a good economy of scale to mobilize in equipment for such a small roadway. So we try and bundle these in an area to get cost savings to the contractor so they can come to 1, 2 areas and focus their efforts as opposed to scattering them all over town.
Is that 1 to 10 scale different than the grading that we did a year or two ago, where we sort of?
That's exactly it. We now have the benefit of 2 years worth of history spaced 2 years apart. So we only have 2 points to determine our line, but it doesn't take much to see what has declined more rapidly than others between those 2 years. We will continue those efforts every other year in the future as well to build a more robust history and tracking mechanism.
Right. Any other questions? Thank you very much.
Hope that made sense.
Next up, we have Chief Knox. We've got the swearing of new police officers for the town of Zionsville, Nicholas Ruby, Austin Holtz, and Richard Lind.
Thank you very much, sir. If it pleases the council, I'd like to ask those officers, Nicholas Ruby, Austin Holtz, and Richard Lind, to step forward. The areas that I ask you to stand in, and I ask that Deputy Mayor Mitro present the oath of office to our new officers.
Gentlemen, raise your right hand and repeat after me the oath of office for police officer for the town of Zionsville, Indiana. I state your name.
I, Nicholas Ruby,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution and statutes of the state of Indiana,
the Constitution and statutes of the state of Indiana,
and the ordinances of the town of Zionsville.
and the ordinances of the town of Zionsville.
I further swear that I will faithfully and impartially
I further swear that I will faithfully and impartially
discharge the duties of police officer for the town of Zionsville, Indiana,
discharge the duties of police officer for the town of Zionsville, Indiana,
according to the best of my skills and ability, so help me God.
according to the best of my skills and ability, so help me God.
Congratulations, gentlemen.
Now, if it's okay with the council, I'd like to have their chosen family members come forward and pin the badge on them.
Please.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief. Request to speak. Do we have any requests to speak?
No, we do not.
Okay. Old business. First up is a consideration of an ordinance reclassifying certain areas with the consolidated town of Zionsville from the rural service district to the urban service district. This is a second reading. This is ordinance number 2018-14. Deputy Mayor Mitro.
Thank you. As we have twice before already discussed this, this is an ordinance that would allow the reclassification of a number of neighborhoods within the rural service district to be transferred or transitioned into the urban service district. We discussed last time the various areas, the areas around Von Terra, the areas around Union Elementary, the Enclave in Shannon Springs, and a couple other small infill areas. As you note, this is a second reading. This was originally brought forward to you in March, just as a FYI, officially brought to you at the last meeting. This and the companion fiscal plan resolution are available for your final consideration this evening. And item B, the resolution, is also a public hearing.
Questions for Deputy Mayor Mitro? All right, I'd take a motion on this then.
I move approval.
Got a first from Councilor Suarez to approve.
Second.
Got a second from Councilor Spies. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Ordinance number 2018-14 is adopted on final reading by a vote of 6 in favor, 0 opposed. Next up, and related, we have a consideration of a resolution of the Town Council of the Town of Zionsville regarding a fiscal plan for reclassifying certain areas within the consolidated Town of Zionsville from the Rural Service District to the Urban Service District. This is a public hearing. This is resolution number 2018-11. Deputy Mayor Mitro, anything else to add on this?
Very quickly, as we noted last time, and again, Mark Adam is here if you have any additional questions relative to the fiscal plan. The additional revenue will offset the additional costs and services. It's basically a wash between the two, done that way purposely. As we noted, with the tax caps in place, even though the tax rates may increase, you will not see, or the public will not see, any additional costs associated with this. I have had numerous discussions with the Enclave subdivision. I'm kind of surprised they weren't here, but they were very much in favor of this. It does nothing but benefit them. If you have any other questions, happy to answer them.
If you're thinking about any questions, as I noted, this is a public hearing. I have proof of publication and a second proof of publication. It's had to be published twice. I will open the public hearing if anyone from the public would like to come speak on this. All right, I will close the public hearing. Any questions for Deputy Mayor Mitro? All right, well, I would make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Ooh, there was a lot there. I think I heard Councillor Suarez as the second. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Okay, resolution number 2018-11 passes with a vote of 6 in favor, 0 opposed. Moving on to new business. First up, we have a consideration of a reappropriation resolution. This is a mid-year budget rectification. This is resolution number 2018-12. Deputy Mayor Mitro, you're popular.
Thank you. As we do twice every year, we do what is typically a mid-year and an end-of-the-year rectification on the budget. This is a reappropriation, not an additional appropriation. This is not new monies. It is money being moved around within line items to make sure all individual line items stay in the positive. You'll note a number of salary items. This is rectifying our ADP system with the performance increases that were done at the very end of last year. We always wait until mid-year just to do that. They're being paid correctly. We're just catching up with the bookkeeping. We have a couple department heads here, those who aren't happily vacationing. If you have any questions of any of the departments or any of the items, we'll be happy to answer them.
Any questions? Yeah. Susanna?
Yes, thank you. Mr. Mitro, I noticed that from the Parks and Recreation Fund, the line item for salary increases was reappropriated to numerous different areas there. So we're looking at $7,021, and that's now been spread across for different positions.
Correct.
Is that to increase those salaries?
Yes.
So it's serving that purpose. I'm just trying to make sure that that's...
Yes, that
okay.
line item is specific to serve that purpose, and that's
Okay.
exactly what we're
So
doing.
now we're just dropping into the specific bucket that's needed.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's all I had. Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, take a motion.
Move to approve.
Got a first from Councillor Spies.
Second.
Second from Vice President Traylor. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Resolution number 2018-12 passes with a vote of 6 in favor, 0 opposed.
Thank you.
Before we move on to B, our new officers, I'm thrilled to have you here. If budgeting stuff is boring you, I will not be insulted if you quietly leave, but you're more than welcome to stick around for the rest of the meeting, so up to you. Next up, we've got a consideration of a zone map change ordinance to rezone approximately 597 acres from the rural R2 residential zoning district to the rural MRO Michigan Road Overlay District to a PUD planned unit development. This has been forwarded to us with a unanimous recommendation of approval from the Zionsville Plan Commission. This is ordinance number 2018-15. Mr. DeLong.
Thank you. Good evening. As you so eloquently indicated, the rezoning is forwarded this evening from the Plan Commission for your consideration. The petitioner is here this evening to cover any facets of the project which you may have any questions about. Again, this is a PUD rezoning, as you indicated, for 597 acres.
Questions for Mr. DeLong? I know it's a big packet we got, or I know Mr. Price is here as well. If you have any questions about this specific project, I know it's a big one.
Are they changing the path of how Holiday Road or O'Neill Road or whichever you want to call that.
The petitioner can probably best describe that, but the roadway would be relined, reused with a new access point provided along Michigan Road. But
And there are some homes along that road between, are they staying there or?
Yes.
And then everything's east of the creek, basically. And then something can happen west of the creek.
Hey, Matt, would you mind stepping up just so we can get all the yeses and nos on the recording?
Thank you, Heather.
Thank you.
You're saying the mic was not picking up my...
No, sorry.
For the record, Matt Price, with an address of 485 West Sycamore Street in Zionsville, Indiana, tonight, appearing for Hinkie Development Group. Yeah, so the project is generally bounded by Michigan Road on the east, Eagle Creek on the west, Willow Road on the south. And the property west of the creek is not part of the project and is going to be owned by its current owners into the future and not contemplated to ever be included in this development proposal.
Mr. Price, do you have an idea of how many homes we're talking about?
Yes. The project contemplates a maximum of 595 single-family homes in the residential and lifestyle block, which is the over 90% of the area that makes up the project, and it's the area where the golf course is located. So over 50% of the project area is dedicated to green space, including the golf course, and then we have a cap of 595 single-family homes. Now, there are also some other residential components of the project. One of the things that we're proud of as we work through this proposal with the surrounding neighborhoods, for example, is that we created a community residential district on the southern frontage along Michigan Road that can also be used for residential uses, so things like a townhome, a condominium. But we did that in lieu of having any kind of retail or business uses in that section of the project. And so that was something that, for example, made the folks at Brittany Chase very happy. We eliminated an access point there off of Michigan Road, but it does allow some additional dwelling units on the property.
And I was looking through, there's not going to be any apartments there though, right?
No apartments. No
Just
apartments in that
like
section.
Townhomes, condo type.
That's correct. That's correct.
Is the state going to put a stoplight there then?
We do believe that we'll have warrants for a stoplight at the main entrance, which is across from the Hidden Pines entryway. And our traffic study indicates that, as I said, that we'll meet the warrants for that, and that'll eventually be installed there and help add some traffic controls to that vicinity.
Is the main traffic flow going to be coming from Michigan? Or is there any projection on the traffic coming from, what is that, 975?
It's a good question. No, the concept behind the proposal was to direct traffic out onto Michigan Road, and it contemplates some additional turning lanes, passing blisters, the traffic signalization, as opposed to connecting to the west and adding traffic to 975, which we felt like was not a good idea. It's already a fairly burdened thoroughfare. And part of our concept is that the project will include multimodal transportation. The idea is that one of the really cool aspects of this project is the addition of the east-west pathway, generally following the Holiday Road, which will be a publicly dedicated pathway for bikes, joggers, walkers, et cetera, and open to the public. And then the addition of a second pathway, which is the extension of the Turkey Foot pathway, which will run along the west side of Eagle Creek and connect up to the nature preserve north of this property. And so what we're hopeful is that people that want to get around to amenities that are inside the project, and if they want to get into the village, they'll have a variety of ways of doing that without necessarily having to get into a car.
So I noted that there was a permit request in here for golf cart use.
Yes.
Correct? Is that going to require us to rescind the limitations of golf cart use? Because right now the town does not allow golf cart use in public streets.
Right, correct. You know, I think what let me introduce my team here real quick, and it'll help me kind of segue into an answer to your question if you.
Sure, because I was reading through this and that
Yeah.
just jumped out at me because of the debate we had in the safety board a couple of years ago specifically on golf cart use,
Right, right.
which has not stopped a lot of people, by the way, but just saying.
Right, right. So, first of all, let me introduce with Hinkie Development Group, Steve Hinkie, who's the founder of Hinkie Development Group and has extensive experience with creating golf course communities and communities that use golf carts. And the rest of his team, Betsy Garfield here, Doug Fleener, hey Doug, and Brad Hinkie, and then my colleague, Mike Andrioli here as well. The way we've positioned this is that we think this can be kind of the beta example of how to permit golf carts following the protocols and kind of safety parameters that Mr. Hinkie has developed in other communities where it's been done successfully, where golf carts have been able to be used simultaneously with pedestrians and bicyclists and joggers without incident. But that's not by accident that works that way. They have some very stringent rules about the maintenance of the golf carts, the quality of the golf carts, that you have to have a licensed driver to operate the golf cart, and a number of other protocols.
Matt, is the property, it's in rural Zionsville?
It is in rural Zionsville.
And does the golf cart limitation apply to rural?
It's all public streets.
Yeah, the limitation that the town currently has, I believe it's town-wide. What this ordinance would do, though, is permit the use of golf carts in the public streets and public pathways, and private pathways as well, but only on the property itself. It does not authorize the use of a golf cart outside of this proposal.
Thanks.
And to answer your question, Councilor Sawyers, more directly, in Westfield, they began the process of permitting golf carts within certain developments by adopting a PUD. It may be that the town will also have to take additional steps legislatively, but
I think it would require some sort of amendment to the existing ordinance to permit this PUD, wouldn't
Right.
it?
It'd probably be
Yeah.
worth clarification
I
at
think
least
so,
to
too.
designate on certain streets, which we've done in the past for
Yeah,
other
I think
traffic.
that's exactly what we would need to do.
and I believe that's what Westfield did as
Yeah.
well, and used the PUD as kind of the vehicle for kicking that process off.
And then the overlay district rules that we approved for across the street would then be applicable to this PUD as well?
Speaking of the Michigan Road overlay?
Correct.
Yes, that's absolutely. One of the things that we're very proud of about this project is that it does not seek exemption from the overlay zone.
I noticed that.
But it actually applies
Okay.
the overlay zone.
So it's
with
not pulling
certain
into that,
amendments.
okay.
Right.
And the Hinkies have done other projects similar to this.
They have. So Hinkie Development Group has done the Bridgewater Golf Course and community in Westfield, as well as their newest development there called Chatham Hills, which have both been just extremely well received. They're beautiful testaments to their really commitment to quality and doing things right. I think one of the things you'll have noticed from the process that the team has followed is that I think I had my first meeting with Steve back in April of 16. So we haven't been in a hurry. We've taken our time, met with the community, met with the town leadership, met with staff, and that's been really an extraordinary exercise working with Lance and Gavin Merriman and Wayne and his team, and certainly the fire department, police department, county sheriff's office. Everybody has had their input, and we feel like it's really culminated in a very quality proposal.
How's Bridgewater filled up? And then when was it started?
If you're gonna, yeah, thank you.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's all right.
I just.
Yeah. If you could just state
This
your
sounds like
name
a
for the
real
record, name and address for the record.
Similar project and size and everything. I just kind of wondered when it done that before, how long did it take to sell?
Hi, Steve Hankey, 3524 Club Estates Drive, Carmel, Indiana. Yeah, Bridgewater started in '02. We began the golf course in '02, and that was approximately 600 acres. We subsequently acquired additional land to help control the quality of what was going to be going in around us. And probably the last piece, a couple pieces that are being added to it are being developed now, but the original sold out in a pretty short period of time. We're doing Chatham Hills now. Chatham Hills started about 3 years ago. We hosted Homerama there. The sales have just been way ahead of schedule. We're about 3 years ahead of schedule. Home prices there are probably averaging about $875,000 a home to $900,000.
Will they be similar here?
Yes, we would expect very similar.
Thank you. I think one of the things that attracted me to this concept was the story that I heard about Mrs. Dye and growing up in this area. Would you be kind enough to share that with us? Because I think it's important for the council to understand the emotional, personal investment that is being brought onto this property, because it's highly important to us to maintain the beauty and the green, as well as the park-like setting that we treasure here in Zionsville. And I'd like you to maybe delve a little bit into that, plus talk about the historical home and the preservation, as well as the personal investment from the Dyes in this.
Absolutely. One of the things we really like to include and incorporate in our developments is the history. It really ties people to the property. People like reading and hearing about it. One of the great things about this property, besides the long history of the Holliday family, is that Alice Dye, Pete Dye's wife, was a member of the O'Neill family. If you recall the gravel road through it, what used to be O'Neill Drive. The O'Neill and Hollidays were brothers and sisters, and so Alice Dye grew up spending a lot of her weekends in the summer and everything at the Holliday farm playing tennis. Even though she became a great golfer, they actually had the tennis courts there. So we incorporate that in it. The bridge, we're certainly advocates of getting that reconstructed as it was, to use that part of the trail system. There was also a lot of history on the farm itself. There's a cemetery there, that there's a person buried there who fought in the War of 1812. We will incorporate that. We'll clean that up. Probably put some wrought iron, around it and make it part of our pathway system. Those are always points of interest, especially with the history behind that. There's also the house, the brick house that you see along 421. We've entered into an agreement to acquire that house, and part of our office and complex area will be included in part of that area. So we'll have sort of a historical approach to that. We want to continue, that Zionsville theme for this. So that house, I think, was built in 1865. Became in disrepair, had tenants into the probably 1970s, 80s, and then fell in disrepair, and then two gentlemen bought it, totally redid the whole house. It's absolutely beautiful inside. So we will incorporate that as part of our development. We did a similar thing at Chatham. There was a barn in the 1830s. We put a lot of money into it, refurbished that, almost redid the whole thing. I think there were 32 weddings booked there this summer. So we restored that, used all the old beams. There's a house there that we've also restored. It was built in 1886, and I've included that. It becomes a part of an amenity of the development, that you can have some functions and things there, and people really enjoy tying themselves to that history.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Matt, I don't know if you're old enough to remember, but the southeast side of just as you go, if you're going east on the river, after you cross the creek, that used to be, the Boy Scouts used to use that. Mr. Holliday let them, but are they still using that, or? I don't think they are, but. Do you remember that?
I don't remember that.
No. Mr. Musgrave.
I look a lot older than I am.
He's old like me.
Matt, could you speak up for Councilor Spees?
Yeah.
I'm not laughing at that, Counselor Spies.
Kids.
You know, it's interesting because I have friends that are members and live on Bridgewater and live in Gulf and Chatham Hills, and so when this came along, I started asking a lot about their development, their experience, the quality, and sometimes we get proposals and they're just paper, there's nothing to look at, and there's a lot to look at here in what you've already done. And so it's interesting that we have a 600-unit development in front of us, and it's pretty quiet out there. I think that's a testament to the work you guys did with neighbors, with the town. Everything I've read in here looks like it'll be of equal quality to what already exists here. And so the only questions I've been getting from constituents is, when does it open? How do I join? Not, why are you putting this here? Why are you allowing this? So I appreciate the effort that you guys have taken to work with the neighbors. I know you've made some tweaks based on some feedback, to work with the town to get an idea of what we'd like to see there. I think it makes this so much smoother.
It's interesting that you mentioned that, because at the second Plan Commission meeting that we just had, the only question from the public was, when is this course going to open? And so we're going through permitting and everything. We've already done our wetland delineation as well as stream delineation. We've already had the Army Corps of Engineers out there. We've had IDEM out there approving our reports on our wetland and stream delineations. That saved a lot of time. So we are pushing us, getting all of our permits in order. We'd like to begin construction probably in January or February, next year. It takes almost 2 years to build a course like that. We would begin putting in infrastructure for homes and so forth on certain sections, of it. And the goal would be that the course would be open probably late fall of 2020 or spring of 21. Again, weather conditions, make that up in the air a little bit, timing-wise.
Great. Any other questions for Mr. Henke or Mr. Price on this?
I move passage.
I've got first from Councilor Suarez.
Second.
Second from Councilor Hopper. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ordinance number 2018-15 is adopted by a vote of 6 in favor, 0 opposed. Good luck, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Good luck.
Any other matters from any councilor to bring up? All right, I would take, we've got the approval of claims. Take a motion to approve.
So moved.
First from Councilor Suarez, second from Vice President Traylor. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Claims are approved by a vote of 6 in favor, 0 opposed. Take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Wow, that was everyone. I heard Vice President Traylor first. I'll give Councilor Suarez the second there. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? We are adjourned, 6 in favor, 0 opposed. The next regular Town Council meeting is scheduled for Monday, July 16th, 2018 at 7:30 a.m. in the Zionsville Town Hall Council Chambers. Thank you.
For which I shall be absent.
You'll miss it?
I'm gonna miss the 16th. I'm gonna be in South Carolina.
Always last. I don't want to be last.
Just cannot do that.
We should start the claims on that side. I know. I've got to be someplace.
I got a fancy.
You well?
I feel like this week is so weird and unproductive. Holy cow.
Hey, Tom. Okay.
One more thing. I know, you thought you snuck it early.
Your hair has been warming up.
So you're at next meeting.
Supposed to be fast.
All right. You can take us out.
I will make a note of it.
Hello, Mr.
You have a lot of
Mitro.
questions. That's good.
I'm going.
Crazy.
Tom, are you up for the police commission meeting too?
I'm out that entire week.
Okay. Chief, if we have a police commission meeting on the 16th, Councilor Suarez will be out.
Yeah, are we gonna, do we have enough items for that agenda?
Sign.
We can still go.
Okay, see you later.
Yeah, you guys can do it without me. I think I did it. I think I'm done. Talk inside.
Good meeting, team. Good meeting.
Thank you. So Chief, do you want to postpone or should we continue the should we postpone the meeting or you said you have a lot of policies to review?
I mean, this.
Okay, so let's just go ahead and move it. Yeah.
When you dot lines, cross all the T's,
Yeah.
like, yep.
No, this, I mean, I have no problem. As long as we have a quorum, I'm good. I'm gonna be at the beach. Okay. I can do whatever you want. I agree. Well, since my husband's decided not to.
Rest of it won't come back.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
How was, how was it gonna meet on Friday at Tim's house?
I didn't hear.
You wanted to go there, hopefully we did that.
No, because I really probably ought to be gone too.
Okay. Just gonna be leaving there? Or? How was Wisconsin? Good.
Yeah, it's great. Fantastic.
Yeah, do you want, this,
I was gonna say, like, I'm
want me to
assuming
put
we
in his mailbox just so he has it?
So we need to start looking it up.
I might go to my mailbox to, yeah. Here, I'll put it in for him, because I'll go back there and check. I haven't been back there in a couple weeks.
Are you guys, yeah, what are you guys doing to, I mean, are you guys running into that a lot?
Ladies.
Well, Josh, actually.
From time to time, I get people asking.
I just asked this one time and I didn't.
And you gotta go.
My apologies, I don't mean to be rude. I'm gonna be super funny.
I know, no,
Okay.
go for it.
Thanks, thanks, thanks.
And I've been on
Yeah, I saw your face.
and I understand, I think it's when that smoke restaurant. And I certainly this here is a big thing. But I think there will be some very important regulations. I see people hanging on the back of their level.
Well, you should be in my neighborhood.
I mean, if you drive a dune buggy down the road, you're gonna have cities, you get sick kids in them.
Sign the claim.
You know, the back, the drivers are.
Tom, it looks like Tom Schuler didn't sign the claims.
Which should not be at our public parking lot anyway.
Or no, wait.
And all the
Oh, he's gone. It's hard to tell whose or whose.
all the time.
Oh, wait.
So, I agree with you. I think it's coming. I think we need to structure it.
Trailer.
I think it's gonna happen. I would like to see it happen with
Schuler, it wasn't Tom.
Hey, I didn't move. I'm like.
Can't figure out who.
All right, Chief, let's talk about that
tomorrow.
Crop him out. We'll share this.
You want to be in the picture too? Hey, go for it. Yeah, we have to see your cute little face. Yeah. Come over here, Bobby. Good job, bud. Yeah. You want to get in a picture? You're the chief. Well, you can get in too, Laura. Okay. There, got it.
Let's get back up here.
All right. Oh, I'll get all three. Oh, or you too, or whatever. Absolutely not. I'd be happy to. Laura, you're in charge. Oh, yeah.
Oh, guy, move all these young. They got one more. Okay. Let me see, who did I know?
You did it?
Yep.
Would you like me to take care of it? Yeah, if you would mind. Yes, I'd be happy to. Okay, oh, absolutely. You go first, or I go second, or we'll both go at the same time? I did one a little closer, now I'm gonna pull you all back. Say two times. I appreciate it. It's always nice to have one. Yeah, I know.
Mom, Dad, you guys want pictures?
Oh, okay, I'm not done yet.
One-on-one with you, and then I got one-on-one with you.
Yeah, cool. Okay, cool.
Yes. Try to get centered.
Yeah, get this down.
So our youngest kid is a freshman in college.
Got two, yeah.
Good deal.
Oh, did you get it? No, I did. Oh, there. Oh.
She's got it.
You got it? Yeah. No, I missed it.
Who got a boat trade?
What? Chief has them. Oh, he might share. Did you? Okay, that one.
You look familiar. How are you?
There it is. Here, I'm gonna.
How are you attached?
What I always say when I take a picture with the shirt, I gotta start with the shirt.
You guys nice and relaxed tonight?
Anybody else like with families or anything?
Yeah, let's get it.
Ron, give me a summons. We're doing everything. That's your group tonight.
It's like, wait a minute, can you get out on your knees? Just kidding. Okay, buddy.
I'll let you.
Thank you so much.
Now, any other
I'll just send you everything. Okay, sounds good. Lauren. Nice to meet you.
You got the Zionsville middle, I'll wait till you're done.
How long has she been over?
Can you get that?
No, that's okay, she'll send it to you.
Okay.
I know where she lives.
Yeah, you can let me know. A lot of people do stuff.
Anybody else need a picture?
I don't want to do it.
You're not taking it. It's just my daughter.
Okay. Well,
Thank you.
thank
It's
you.
nice meeting you.
Again. Yeah.
It gives you a nice.
You have a problem with things like
I think I will. Amy was up here.